Hey there, I'm an animated Connor Walsh, which is kind of ironic because people say I'm pretty animated in real life. Anyway, welcome to Walsh Wednesday, my new/old podcast. Let me explain. Back in high school in 2013, I was pressured by some friends to do an impromptu solo acoustic performance in my cafeteria. Believe it or not, people really took to it. And it turned into a monthly musical series I did through the rest of high school. Who said High School Musical wasn't realistic? By college, I turned Walsh Wednesday into a web series, focusing on interviews surrounding community events, charities, and local entertainment in the Hudson Valley and capital regions of New York. Walsh Wednesday spawned several spin-offs such as the Walsh Wednesday Concert Series, Walsh Wednesday Spotlights, and Walsh Wednesday The Reflective Series before its hiatus in 2021. After that, I spent the last 3 years working in radio, honing my craft, conducting unbelievable interviews, traveling to fascinating places, attending mind-blowing events, and meeting some of my personal heroes. Now, with the help of some awesome people I've met along the way, I'm bringing Walsh Wednesday back bigger and better than ever. Let's stay curious, keep an open mind, and as always, I'm glad we get to spend some time. Welcome to Walsh Wednesday. On this week's episode, we first speak with ringmaster and producer of Circus Vazquez and Flip Circus, Jan Vazquez. Not just that, but we got how you could win 4 tickets to their show in Yonkers, New York. Next, we have author of the Hi, I'm Sam book series, Samantha VanAlstyne. And lastly, we speak with New York-based Billboard charting artist, Leo Sawikin. Special thanks to Impact PR and Communications, Teespring, Walsh Valuation, IABLE Board 114, Flip Circus, and Alan Miller Public Relations. That being said, on with the show. Hey there, and welcome back to another Walsh Wednesday. As always, I'm Connor Walsh, and we have a phenomenal guest with us today. Circus Vazquez has been around since 1969 and has been performing and touring in the United States for 30 years. With us today, we have the producer and ringmaster of Circus Vazquez. He also performs with his sister Carolina on the Rolla Bola. 4th generation performing member of the Vazquez family. We have with us Jan Vazquez. Jan, how are you?
I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for having me. And it's an honor and here to invite everybody to the circus.
Absolutely. This is so cool. Now, of course, with Circus Vazquez, you guys are kicking off your 2025 national tour here in New York. It's going to be at, where is that? Cross Country Center in Yonkers. And you guys are going to be here from February 21st through March 18th. Oh my God, you're picking some really cold times. I hope it's climate controlled within the tent.
Oh yeah, it is super cold out here right now. We are, I think, at -8 or something like that. Yeah, actually, we're performing with Flip Circus. We are here at the Cross County Center. As you mentioned, I am part of the Vazquez family. We do have a Circus Vazquez, which is currently in Texas. It is a bigger tent, but we wanted to try and do something much more comforting, much more traditional in the circus sense. So we opened Flip Circus a couple years ago, and now it is the first time that I'm attending Flip Circus. I have been in the other one all my life, and I'm super excited to be here now, starting in New York, which is crazy because it's really, really cold, as you said. But
Yes.
we do have climate control. It is really warm inside the tent, and it's going to be really enjoyable for all families. A lot of people have already come up to the box office asking because they have seen it before, and it's really exciting because I am not used to this show, and it's really beautiful. It's a white and red tent. I can see it right outside my window. With a stunning interior, beautiful lights, really talented artists. A lot of thrill, family-friendly comedy. We got all the traditional circus stuff.
Oh, that's terrific. So let's talk about your family legacy for a second here. Circus Vazquez, this dates back to 1969. You have Circus Vazquez, you have Flip Circus. So tell us, obviously, I'm sure you weren't there in 1969, but I'm sure your family told you all about it. How did this all come to be?
Well, my grandparents used to be artists. I am a 4th generation now, artist of circus, and they decided one day to open their own circus. They said, "Why not? Let's try it." So it started in Mexico in 1969. There's a little debate there because my grandparents don't remember if it was in 1969 or 1970, but maybe December 1969, right?
There we go.
So, yeah, let's just agree to that middle point.
There we
And
go. Yeah.
it's gone on pretty well. It started as a one pole tent, a really small circus with one truck to move everything. Now we have over 22 trailers to move the whole circus, and it's grown a lot. And about 20 years ago, we moved here to the United States. We started in Texas and slowly made our way up here to New York, and it's like a dream come true.
Oh, that's fantastic, man. So obviously with this 2025 tour, what can people expect out of it? People who have seen this tour in the past, what are some things that they'll be used to? But then what are some things that'll be new? Well, as you said, you're brand new to it, so they can expect you now.
Yeah, exactly. So I am used to being a ringmaster. I will be a ringmaster here at Flip Circus. I will give it a little bit of my touch. I am also a performer. I have my own act. I'm going to be participating along with my sister. We have a duo act, which is a rolla bola. I don't know if people know what that is.
Yeah, what is that? Please explain that for us.
Yeah, sure. Basically, it's imagine like a kind of like a skateboard. So it's like this board that I put on top of a cylinder and I have to balance that. So imagine the cylinder's here, the board is up here, and I have to kind of balance on top of it. And then my sister goes on my shoulders, does some few tricks, a handstand, and crazy stuff above a table. So we're like pretty high up. Uh,
Oh my
pretty
God,
dangerous.
that must take a
Still,
lot of core strength to do. Jesus.
yeah, I get nervous every single show, but I love it. I love the thrill.
Do
And
you
people
still
seem
get
like it's,
nervous, huh?
yeah, of course. Yeah. The day that I don't get nervous, I probably shouldn't be doing it anymore. And
Wow.
it's something that I have to give a lot of respect to because it seems easy, and then the moment you feel like you're comfortable, it can throw you off. So always have to be extra careful. But we make it look fun. We make it look really thrilling, exciting. And besides that, we have some other acts. We have, of course, a clown, hilarious, family-friendly comedy. We have very talented acrobats. We have some girls from Finland that just came in. They do a lot of crazy things with jump ropes that I never thought people could do.
Oh
And
wow.
so that we have, handstand artists, aerial acts. We have a little bit of everything that you can expect from a circus, traditional. But our modern twist is that we have a small tent, but inside we have excellent production. We have a bunch of lighting systems, excellent sounds. As we mentioned earlier, we have the heating system, so it's really comfortable in there. People would love to sit in that tent. Delicious food. As always, you can't have a circus without the popcorn, the hot dogs. We have also a little bit of pizzas, hot wings, a lot of delicious food. I'm getting hungry just talking about it. I have,
Go have lunch after this.
yes, please. And yeah, we're currently in rehearsals right now. Everything's going very smooth, very great. We're starting this Friday, and we have still some acts that need to come in, but everything is said. They're set to arrive today, and hopefully everything's going to be perfect for the premiere this Friday.
Amazing. I'm excited for you guys. I think it's going to be fantastic. And of course, just reminding people again, that's February 21st through March 18th. Now, with the circus, with its origins in Mexico, you just said that you have people from Finland coming. I was reading up on you guys. You have a lot of performers from all over the place. So now I want to ask, how does culture play into the presentation of Circus Vazquez and Flip Circus?
Yes, well, personally, I mean, I get to meet a lot of people from different countries, different cultures, and it's always like a cultural clash, because there's people who have different traditions than I do, and it's crazy that we get to live in this little community because the circus is like a very small town. We live next to each other. Everybody lives here in the circus. We travel together. We have our own water systems. We have our own electricity. We have everything, and to be in the same barbecue with people that I never expected to meet, and in the show, everybody brings a little bit of their own. Every act that we bring in is their own act. We don't modify anything. We don't put our stuff in. Like it's the acts as they come. And so you will see people who bring their traditional acts and yeah, I mean it's a great experience.
Oh, that's awesome, man. You got a little melting pot. And as you said, your own little city, bringing everybody together. I think that's terrific. So, with this being in your family for so long and now you doing it and taking things over, I got to ask, are there certain memories or certain aspects of this that you hold on to and like stick in your head and stick in your heart in particular?
Let's see. Well, the circus has helped me develop my character as a person. I remember particularly when I was younger, I was really, really shy. I still am, but I was like the shy kind where I wouldn't like to speak, I wouldn't like to even, start a conversation with anybody. And I think the circus has helped me a lot with that I started being a ringmaster as a tradition. So I knew I had to do it, and I got the courage, and I started at about 15 years old,
Oh,
I think.
wow.
My dad used to be a ringmaster, and so he's like, "Are you ready? Let's try it out." And I really didn't want to do it. I'll be honest with you. I was really scared. I don't know what's so scary about just having a microphone and speaking to a bunch of people, but it is really scary. And I remember I couldn't do it in the middle of the stage, so I tried it out like far away first as a test, up in the sound booth. I just said my first few words, and then slowly but surely I started to, develop this charisma in the stage that till this day has helped me a lot. And there's a bunch of memories that I have from it, but right now it's kind of hard to access them. But if it comes up, I'll let you know. Yeah.
No, that's great though. So that's really interesting to hear this development and how you really had to grow into this role. Do you have any suggestions for anybody? Maybe they're not looking to be a ringmaster, but they're looking to do public speaking or something. Do you have anything based on your experience that you would say to somebody to help break them out of their shell?
Yeah, of course. I mean, try things out, Here in the circus, we have a lot to pick from, a lot of different kinds of activities. And I love to just try out new things, try out new acts. And as long as you do that, you're going to start to feel more comfortable, more confident in yourself. And if you have an interest, if you have things that you like to do them, try them out. And as long as you do that, you will build the confidence.
Amazing. And again, I want to remind people that this tour is kicking off in Yonkers, New York, February 21st through March 18th. I'm not sure which date I'm going to make it down for, but I know I want to make it down for it. Absolutely. It's going to be fantastic. And Jan, thank you so much for being here on this interview. I know that you have to run and get back to rehearsals. You guys are very, very busy. But before we run, though, is there any last little nugget that you want to share with the Walsh Wednesday listening audience about the circus, about yourself, about the family? Any last little nugget you would like to share?
So this is a 100% family-owned circus. A lot of people who come here, they don't know that. I don't know, maybe they might think it's like a generic circus or something, but it is a family-owned and operated circus. We put a lot of heart into it. We love the circus world. We love the circus, and we always do our best to give the best show, the best artists, the best circus for the family. And so come and support the circus. You're gonna enjoy it. You're going to be able to see me here in Flip Circus. Me personally, I'm going to be the ringmaster and artist. You're going to definitely notice me there and a bunch of other very talented individuals. And, follow your dreams. Everything's possible. May the circus live on. For more information, flipcircus.com. Tickets are there. Box office is open every single day, starting at 10 a.m. We are in Yonkers, like you said, at the Cross County Center.
Fantastic. Definitely want to check out the Flip Circus again, Cross County Center in Yonkers, New York, February 21st through March 18th. So excited for you, Jan. And Jan, thank you so much for being here on this episode.
Thank you so much. It has been an honor. Thank you.
I'm Connor.
I'm Jan.
And as always, we're glad we get to
spend some time.
Hey there, I'm the ad ref, and I'm calling a timeout on today's episode to tell you about our sponsors. CMJW Entertainment, in association with Alan Miller Public Relations and Circus Vazquez, is giving away a family 4-pack of tickets to Flip Circus, which is performing in Yonkers, New York from February 21st through March 18th. Flip Circus, one of America's best family entertainment options, is hitting the road for their 2025 national tour, and it all begins at the Cross Country Center in Yonkers, New York from February 21st through March 18th. Created by the Vazquez family, this intimate big top experience has consistently entertained audiences around the country with its high energy, family friendly, edge of your seat production. The 2025 show brings together an entirely new cast of stellar international human talent who are guaranteed to wow. To enter to win the family 4-pack of tickets, please visit the link in the description. You have until 11:59 p.m. on Tuesday, February 25th to enter. Spend some time with Flip Circus this February and March. All right, that's enough of me. Time to get this show back on the road. Hey there, and welcome back to Walsh Wednesday. As always, I'm Connor Walsh, and I'm really happy to have you guys with us today. We have a great episode lined up with a friend of mine from college. I'm really excited to be speaking with her because when we got to know each other at the time, I remember in particularly, you sent a message to me when I was going through a really tough time, and I'm like, Jeez, is it that obvious? And, I'm glad we were able to connect in class and everything. And I still remember that. And I appreciate that so much. Sam here has a big heart. And with that heart of hers, she's promoting her latest book series, Hi, I'm Sam, meant to raise awareness for and promote inclusion for children and adults with cerebral palsy. Then she also just came out with the latest book in that series, Sam Wants to Get Married, based on her and her fiance, Jordan. We have a lot to get into today. I can't wait to get into it all. Author and proud aunt, which is one of the reasons why this was inspired to be written. We have with
Yes.
us author Samantha Marie VanAlstyne, aka the aforementioned Sam. Sam, how are you?
I'm good, Connor. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's been a while. I'm glad that you're doing well with
It
the book
has been
series.
a very long time. Good to see you.
I know. You're up in Red Hook, correct?
Yes, Red Hook.
Yep. So right here in the Hudson Valley. Not too bad.
Yep.
Not too bad. Fantastic. Obviously, we met up in Albany, and
Yes, when I was
rest in
going to
peace.
St. Rose, I ended up doing a semester there. Not the best disability friendly school.
Old buildings, not
Yeah.
really updated,
Yeah, so
unfortunately.
so that's kind of why I left. But I'm pursuing media and communications through SUNY Dutchess at the moment, as well as, doing my author thing.
That's fantastic. That's a lot on your plate right there, trying to be an author
Oh,
at the same time and being a student.
and I'm planning a wedding.
And you're planning the wedding.
And
Congratulations
I'm
on
running
that.
for Miss Wheelchair New York in March.
Oh my God, I didn't know that was a thing. We'll have to
No
talk
one
about that as
does.
well. No, but
Yes.
that's fantastic. Okay, you know what? Since we're talking about, first of all, congratulations on your engagement.
Thank you.
But second of all, we'll get back into the engagement when we talk about the book. Tell us about Miss Wheelchair of New York. That sounds
Okay,
cool.
so not a lot of people know about it, but it's through the Self Advocacy of New York. It's essentially an advocacy and not necessarily a beauty pageant, but it's meant to celebrate the work of advocates who use wheelchairs. So basically, it's 3 rounds. You do an onstage speech of your platform, and my platform is disabled marriage equality. And then you do they give you like an interview on stage, and then you go into a timed interview, and then they take all those scores, and whoever gets the highest score goes on to nationals, Miss Wheelchair America.
Wow, that would be impressive. We'll definitely be rooting you on. Is there anything that we, the Walsh Wednesday audience, can do to help support in that?
I don't think so. I think it's just all on me and how I perform. Luckily, I'm kind of a good talker, so I think we'll be all right.
Oh, you got amazing presence. So I believe in you, Sam. That's terrific. I can't wait to hear about when all of that goes through and it's all positive. Amazing. So, so cool. So, as you said, your platform is on the marriage equality when it comes to the disabilities and about all that. Let's get into the book series because that's kind of where it
Yeah.
all
Okay.
stemming from,
So
of course.
yeah, we'll start from the very first book, which is Hi, I'm Sam. It was released in 2021. So peak pandemic. I actually wrote that in about, I think it took like 10 minutes to actually write the manuscript. A little longer to put it together. I did have an illustrator on this one, my lovely cousin, Tessa Hermans. She was freelancing at the time and was like, I'll help you out. But this book it's largely dedicated to my nieces and nephews. My oldest niece at the time, she was 7. She'll be 12 this summer.
Oh, wow.
I had a conversation with her and her brother regarding why Aunt Sam lives in a facility for people with disabilities versus like with my dad. And they just kind of wanted to know about that. And it got me thinking, not everyone has an Aunt Sam. Not everyone has someone who will sit down and be like, this is what it is. This is what it's not. All right, move on.
Absolutely. I love that. And that's so good that you're able to have that connection with your nieces and nephews. So here you put out, Hi, I'm Sam, and walk us through the book a little bit. What exactly about your
Okay, so
experience did you go into?
the book itself, the first book covers my birth and that I was born severely premature. I was born around 23 weeks, which is technically before you're viable for life outside the womb.
Mm.
I weighed exactly 2 pounds at birth. I was supposed to be due in January. I was born in October. I made it home in time for Christmas, though, after a brief stay in the NICU. And, I have an older brother, so my parents kind of knew what to look out for as far as like baby milestones. And when I didn't hit those, they were like, okay, something's up. And I don't know how exactly they diagnosed cerebral palsy. I think it's like tests or something. Moral of the story being is I have cerebral palsy. I don't like to use functioning labels, but they would consider myself to be high functioning. I would personally say I just have lower support needs. I don't need as much help as some of my peers who have the disability. So then the book goes into schooling and my journey towards my first wheelchair because up until I was 5, I didn't use a wheelchair. I was in a stroller. I was just pushed and carried places. I weighed 20 pounds. I didn't really have a need for a wheelchair. I could be carried wherever. I was the size of an infant. Um, so then I met one of my aunt's friends who was a paraplegic, and he had a sit down discussion with my mom and said, why do you want her to only be where you put her? Imagine if someone sat you in a corner and left you there. How do you feel?
Mm.
And that's how we started the paperwork to get my first wheelchair. The first book goes into that journey and my journey of mainstream education. That was also a fight because the school district I went to, Chatham School District, at the time, they wanted to put me in special ed. I'm not mentally disabled,
Mm.
in case you didn't notice.
Oh,
It's pure,
absolutely. No, I hear you.
it's purely physical. So I went through a lot of rigorous testing as a 4-year-old to be put into mainstream kindergarten and did my 12 years. And obviously I'm a college student. And that basically sums up the first book.
I love the perseverance and how you're able to break that down for everybody. And of course, we were together in class. I know how smart you are.
Yeah,
I see how you are with the books. They're incredible. And I'm sure there's a lot of stigmas that unfortunately have to overcome with this
there
because
really is.
it's a very
Um,
physical,
especially in academic settings.
yeah.
Actually, that's part of the reason why St. Rose dismissed me is because of my disability. I was not able to come to school because I live in a facility. They
Mm.
couldn't drive me, and they're like, since you can't be here, we're gonna dismiss you from the school. And I was like, well, this is not my fault, but okay.
That is difficult. So,
Yeah,
with that being said, you mentioned a lot with schooling right now. For
yeah.
those who are listening at the moment who would be interested in checking out the book or learning more, what are some of the stigmas that you would like to see your activism and your books help break down?
I would really like to demystify disability. I would like more disability presence in the media because my books are the books I needed when I was little.
Mm.
There's no disability, there's not really any books for kids about disability. Sure, there's a handful, especially cerebral palsy. Sure, there's a handful, and they're really hard to find. So I'm just trying to break down the barriers of you don't really see disability in the media, and if you do, it's your they were in a tragic accident or
Mm.
like this terrible thing happened to them, or if they are portrayed, they are seeking a cure. Like this character wants to be cured and get better. For most of us with physical disabilities, there is no getting better. Walking is not the goal, at least for me personally. For some people, it might be, but the majority of us who are wheelchair users will probably have some sort of mobility issue the rest of our lives. And the media needs to acknowledge that beyond the inspiration porn, beyond the tragic story.
I think that's really big to be able to break down and to be able to have these conversations at a very early age, especially with children's
Yeah.
books, helps break down those stigmas. I was speaking to an author several months ago. She was telling the story of her daughter with a hearing impairment and to help break that down. And when
Mm-hmm.
she was able to show off the book, her daughter was able to do better in class because her classmates had all the right questions and they were able to talk to her about it in a much more educated manner, which has helped her schooling, as I'm
Yeah.
sure this will help many other students
Oh,
understand
I
in a
love
very long
when I present to
way.
schools and things of that nature because I've done that. And kids have the best questions for me. I love inquisitive kids. Even if I'm out in public and a kid stops me, I'm not gonna be one like, don't talk to me. I'm gonna be like, what's up? Do you want to like push a button on my chair? Do you?
I love that. I love that. But also at the same time, kids are just genuinely interested and curious. It's not coming from a place of malice, at least not
Exactly.
right away. It's what they get taught that unfortunately brings in kind of some kind of ill
Exactly.
intent.
And I implore all parents I know to teach their kids about kids with disabilities. And if you can't get a hold of me, I'm their auntie now.
I love it. Aunt Sam, everybody. She is the aunt
Yes.
for all of your kids. Fantastic. I love it. So that is terrific, Sam. I'm happy to hear that this is making a splash. Before we get into the second book, what kind of response have you seen from readers, from schools? As you said, you've been going around and talking to schools and
Yeah, I've
places.
been
What
going
kind of
around the
response are you
past couple
getting?
of years. I've been on various radio shows, and overall, it's been a positive response. I've had parents of other disabled kids message me and be like, "Thank you for this." Like, and so yeah, overall, a really positive response. And so yeah, I think we're making an impact a little bit at a time.
Little bit at a time. Absolutely. So when it comes to that, you're getting the word out there. You're going on programs such as this, of course. Thank you for being here.
Thank
Um,
you for having me.
how can people find you and contact you if they
Okay,
want to
so
have you on?
I'm pretty easy to find. Sam VanAlstyne across all platforms, one word. Or if you look, I'm on Amazon, I'm on Barnes and Noble. I have author pages. So if you want to buy the book, you can. But like I said, if you just search Sam VanAlstyne, pretty much anywhere, it'll give you my social pages.
Perfect. And of course, we'll have the links and information in the
Yeah, I can
description
give
of
you
this
the links.
episode. We'll have it all. You can find the books, you can find her contacts. It'll be all available and accessible to you. So let's talk about the new book. It came out in November, one day before my birthday, mind you. So good timing. I love it. But Sam
It came
wants to
out
get
on
married.
11/11 by pure accident. That just happened. It just when it happened to be done.
Wish for, well, they say 11/11. It's a very
Yes.
beautiful time. So Sam wants to get married. It's based on your current engagement to your fiance Jordan. Again,
Yes, who is also
congratulations.
disabled.
Congratulations to you guys on that. But with it has brought a lot of difficulties. So
A
would you like to
lot.
talk about the
And a
book?
lot of criticism from people, actually.
Really? Okay, please go into
Yeah.
that.
So recently, I've had people close to me tell me that this book isn't appropriate for kids.
And why is that? Why
Um,
do they say that?
which is not. They're like, "Do you really think you should talk about marriage to kids?" And I'm like, "Yeah, there's books about same-sex marriage.
Hmm.
Why can't there be books about disabled marriage?" But yeah, I've had and yeah, we've got a lot of criticism and just speculation because like most people don't know that if you're disabled and you get any kind of benefits from the government, like SSI, Medicaid, food stamps, any of that, if you legally get married, they cut you off because it's a social program. So say you and I got married, Connor, they would take your income, count it as my income, and then make you responsible for me for
Oh
the
my
rest of
God.
our life.
Okay, so that definitely makes things tough on you. All the things that you've
Yes.
had available to you kind of disappears to a degree there,
Yeah.
a large degree.
Or if you're two disabled people, like my partner and myself, because he also has a physical disability, they give you about $1,400 for two people if you get to keep your benefits. Now I make 1,300 alone.
Gotcha.
So you really think 1,400 for two people is enough? It's forced poverty, is what it is.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. So that really decreases what you're getting by so much right there. That is terrible.
Yeah.
So with this case, with this book, I think it's very important to get into. I
Yeah.
obviously I would definitely agree that it's probably a jump from the first book, a little more
Yeah. I've
mature
had people be like,
content.
it's such a jump. And I'm like, well, it's what's happening right now.
It's relevant and you're telling your
Yeah.
story.
Especially with the Hulu documentary that just came out, Patrice the movie, that also covers disabled marriage.
Oh, I'll have to check it out. I'm not familiar with
Yes, you
that.
should.
Yeah,
You
what is that?
should. Patrice the movie. It's on Hulu.
I'll hunt that down and put the link below for that as well. It
Yes.
sounds like that would be good for a lot of
Because it's
people.
relevant. What bothers me most is that any able-bodied couple can meet on the street today, go to the courthouse, pay $50, whatever it is, become legally married, and nothing bad happens to them. But I get legally married and I lose everything. I
Mhm.
could never afford to live without my benefits. My wheelchair alone cost $55,000.
No, that is difficult. So obviously, this is still a work in progress for you and your fiance, but what kind of
Yes,
steps are you taking?
there's an act that's being passed around Congress called the Marriage Equality for Disabled Adults Act. It was passed by a senator or a congressman in California, and the media just isn't talking about it. It's been proposed for about a year and a half.
Mm.
It's sitting in Congress. So I implore people to, write their congressperson, get people talking about this. So what we plan to do is we plan to have a commitment ceremony on Halloween of 2026
I love
because
that.
we think it's cool.
Why not?
And even that is a risk because the way it's written in the Social Security Act or whatever it is that was proposed in the Nixon administration, by the way, and has not been changed. Any opposite gender people living together, not even legally married, living together, existing in the same space, can be considered as a married couple.
Oh, so that's a challenge as well. So you yeah, it sounds like you have a number of things working
Yeah,
against you at
so
the
we may
moment.
not even ever be able to live together. And if you publicly present yourself as married to like the community at large, you can also be cut off.
Oh my God. That really is terrible. That
Yes.
does need to change. 100%. So yeah, no, I think people should be writing into their Congress and everything. I think I should
Yeah.
definitely do that. And so the best way to do that, right? Find your
Find
local
whoever
congressman.
your representative is. There's ways to do it. I think you can do it right from the Congress website. I wrote our Congress guy and he gave me a very canned response, but it's something.
It's something. And you know what? If we
Yeah.
can make that if we bring that in with bigger numbers, who knows what will be
Yeah.
able to happen? I hope for some positive change because,
Yeah.
it was like you
Do
should get
I
married and be
do
fine.
I ever really think it's going to be passed in my lifetime? Maybe. The biggest issue the government has currently is that it would be expensive for some reason, or at least they think so, to keep people on their benefits, which makes no sense to me. Because if I'm just on my benefits and I get to keep my benefits,
Nothing
nothing
changes.
changes.
Yeah. This is frustrating. I'm so sorry that this is
Yes,
something that you have to go through. And this
I
is
can see that you're like palpably frustrated that this
I
exists.
am. I am. I'm learning, but also at the same time, I'm learning this. So I'm sure that somebody else who's listening to this is learning this as well for the first
Yeah,
time and probably getting frustrated. And hopefully something can be done about this. Because
I mean,
I'm
I'm
sure I'm not the
trying.
only person that would feel this way hearing this news.
I'm trying. I'm sending a book to Congress once I can mail them out. Yeah, I'm sending one of my books to Congress and be like, here, this is what's happening.
Yeah, I
Please
think that's a
read
great
this.
way. I think it's a great way to put it out there. And honestly, sometimes some politicians need it in a children's book form in order to understand that.
I mean, I might be a little biased, but it's very well written.
Oh, I'm sure it's very well written. Absolutely. I need to get my hands on a copy, of course. But of course, Hi, I'm Sam book series. The first one, Hi, I'm Sam, and then the second one, Sam Wants to Get Married. Both of them are out now. You can check them out. Well, of course, we'll have all the links and information in the description of this episode. And definitely worth looking into some of these policies that are affecting those with disabilities, especially in your case, as you've been saying about getting married. This is
Yeah.
very difficult. But now I want to talk about kind of the anti side to Sam and talk
Okay.
about here you are, your nieces and nephews are a huge inspiration to you.
They are
I just
all of
want to,
my
yeah,
all
talk
of
about
my
that dynamic.
children, all eight of them.
All eight of them. That's fantastic. What's the age range?
We are currently ranging from 11 to 1
Oh,
with one
wow.
on the way.
With one on this. Oh, so you're almost at nine now. That's
Yes.
fantastic. So yeah, so now obviously to them, you're just simply Aunt Sam and everything, and you're
Yeah.
having fun. What's it mean to you to have this dynamic with your nieces and nephews in
It's
this way?
quite interesting because to me they're just my kids and to them I'm probably just Sam and like it's normal but like I experience my friends' kids and like other people's kids and they're not put off by the chair but like they don't know how to interact because
Mm.
like for most kids a wheelchair is a very uncommon thing but my kids like you want to ride on my chair, you want to see how fast they go.
I love that. As a kid, I would have loved to do something like that. That would have been a lot of fun.
And my older nieces and nephews, my book is in their school. It's in the elementary school library.
Wow.
Um, and their friends think it's pretty cool that their aunt has written a book and it's for them.
No, that's great.
And they're Gen Alpha kids and they're older, so it's quite an interesting dynamic.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Absolutely. But it is cool that, it's like if my aunt had a book in my school, I'd be promoting that left and right. It's like, look at this. Check it out. Have you read this yet? So cool, Sam. So as you said, your nieces and nephews are just so used to it. I'm sure with these books, part of it, the goal is that hopefully one day, most kids won't have
Yeah.
that same kind of stigma or not
I
stigma,
mean,
not
I
know
mean,
what to
people are
do.
always gonna probably look at me real weird. I'm in a wheelchair, my hair is pink. So,
It's a great shade. Pink's great.
but yeah, I would like for disability to be less of a novelty.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to put it. Less of a novelty, absolutely. And I think you're really paving the way and showing like what is absolutely possible. I'm really proud of the work that you're putting out there, Sam, and I'm
Thank you
glad
so
that
much.
you're welcome. And I'm glad that I'm learning as much as I am just out of this one conversation because I think this is very,
Like
very
I said,
necessary.
people don't know. I recently had a professor over at SUNY Dutchess. The class was social problems in today's world. We had to pitch a social problem for a final project. And she initially told me that based on the textbook definition, disabled marriage equality is not considered a social problem.
What?
A professor said that disabled marriage equality did not fit the criteria to be considered a social problem.
Oh
Of
my
course,
God.
I did the PowerPoint and got an A and convinced her otherwise, but I was
Good.
initially told that this was not a social problem.
But I'm glad that you went through with it anyway. I'm
Yeah,
glad that you did the presentation and I'm glad that you were able to convince them otherwise.
right. Yeah, she very blatantly was like, "This is a good idea, but to me, it doesn't seem like a social problem."
See, that's the problem. To me, that phrase
Yes.
gets a lot of people in trouble
Hmm.
because when we use that phrase, to me, this isn't a
Hmm.
problem, it negates the challenges that plenty of other people are having all around them. And having that spatial
Exactly.
awareness is really, really necessary.
That's what I mean when I say that most people don't know this is an issue because it doesn't affect you, despite the disabled community being the US's largest minority. It doesn't affect most people unless you have a disabled person in your life or are a disabled person. You're not gonna know that we can't get married.
And that is difficult. And I think that's something that
Yeah,
does need to get out there more. Just the fact that I'm learning so much right now. I knew a little bit going into this, but yeah, I'm seriously glad we're having this conversation because I think it is necessary for people to
yes,
know and to get out there. Absolutely. So, Sam, of course, the book series is out there now. People can buy their copies. People can reach out to you to talk at their
yes.
schools or businesses or whatever that
Yeah,
might be.
if people want me to talk, I don't charge anything to come talk, although I should.
Maybe
But I
someday you
typically
should.
I
But
typically don't. And yeah, if you buy a book, you can either message me through any of my socials and give me your address, and I will sign a copy and I will mail it to you. That's what I do if you want a signed copy. Or Amazon, Barnes and Noble. And if you buy a book, you are inadvertently funding my wedding. So
there you go. Fund Sam's wedding. That sounds terrific. Sam, again, thank you so much for being here on this episode of Walsh
thank you for
Wednesday.
having me.
Absolutely. Any last little nugget? I feel like we covered a lot, but any last
We
little
did
nugget
cover
for
a lot,
everybody?
but seriously, buy a book so I can afford my wedding.
There we go. All right. I'm Connor.
I'm Sam.
And as always, we're glad we get to
Spend some time.
Hey there, I'm the ad ref, and I'm calling a timeout on today's episode to tell you about our sponsors. First of all, let's throw it to Philomena in the booth. Philomena?
Thanks, Connor. I'm Philomena Finelli, CEO of Impact PR and Communications and a media maven, which is a fancy way of saying that my team and I help companies get in the news, transform leaders into thought leaders, and cut through the clutter with messaging that matters. And we do it all with a smile. Our agency was named the Woman-Owned Small Business of the Year for 2024 by the Metro New York District Office of the U.S. Small Business Administration, and we received the Gold Stevie Award for Women-Run Workplace of the Year, which is an international recognition. But it's not about the awards, it's about the personal interactions. We at Impact PR and Communications pride ourselves on crafting meaningful, results-driven public relations campaigns that are tailored to meet and exceed our clients' goals. If you want to learn more and talk to my team and I, visit prwithimpact.com and let us know that you found out about us from Walsh Wednesday. Now back to you, Ad Ref.
Thanks, Philomena. Now it's time to throw it over to a very handsome and might I say stylish, young man. The Walsh Wednesday merch store is officially open. Now you can have my face on your body. That didn't come out right. When you visit the Walsh Wednesday merch store, you can select from hats, t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, and more. By purchasing some Walsh Wednesday merchandise, you're not only supporting this program, but you're also supporting the local arts and organizations that are featured. Just visit cmjwentertainment.com/shop-merch and use promo code REVIVAL for 20% off. All links are in the description. I decided to work with Teespring for my merch store because, well, I was already buying from them. They have comfortable and durable products, and their printing is clear and reliable. One of my favorite hoodies is from my friend's Teespring collection, Offbeat Threads. To learn how to start your own online collection, visit teespring.com. And of course, I hope you get to spend some time at the Walsh Wednesday merch store. Thanks, guys. All right, that's enough of me. Time to get the show back on the road. Hey, welcome back to Walsh Wednesday. As always, I'm Connor Walsh, and we got a great interview for you today. The last time I spoke to this musician, this was when I was working for Town Square Spotlight. This is his first time on Walsh Wednesday. I am so happy to be speaking to him again. He's got a new album coming out on January 24th. Till You're Somebody Else. Now, he's a New York City musician, but he's been touring all around this last year. Actually, I had a hell of a year when it came to performances, and I'm excited to talk about all that and the new music. With us today, we have Leo Sawikin. Leo, how are you, man?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Really happy to have you on Walsh Wednesday now. Last time we had you was Town Square Spotlight, and last time I was speaking with you, you're a little under the weather. How you feeling since then? I hope you've recouped
Oh,
since then.
yeah, thankfully, yes. I'm
Oh
better.
my God. Yeah, I'm sure that was probably a crazy time, especially in the midst of all the shows you were doing. You had a pretty packed year last year with performances, didn't you?
Yeah, I was on tour for a good chunk of the year with John McLaughlin. Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I got to see a lot of the country that I had never seen before this year. So yeah, definitely packed with a lot of experiences.
That's so cool. A cross country tour. That's incredible. Were there any highlights in particular or any places you were most excited to be able to see?
I mean, driving up and down the West Coast was amazing. I've always wanted to do that, and I just had never had the chance before. But in May, I toured the West Coast with John. We started in LA, drove out to Phoenix through the desert, which I had never seen before. I'd never really seen the Southwest, so that was awesome. And then drove back to San Diego, and then just all the way up to Seattle, and saw all the incredible mountains and nature along the way, and the amazing food that is on the West Coast.
I'm sure that's good.
Yeah, all pretty much everything we had was awesome. That was a big highlight for me. Maine was awesome. I don't get to play shows in Maine too often. Those were the highlights in terms of touring, I guess. And then in July, I went to record in Seattle.
Yeah, and that was with your producer, Phil Eck, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Nice. So how much of that was for this album, Till You're Somebody Else, or was that for other projects? Tell us the
That's
timeline of that.
that's for newer stuff. So Till You're Somebody Else is all songs that I wrote before 2024 started, and wrote and recorded before 2024 started. These four that we recorded were all brand new.
Very, very cool. So how's that feel then? You've been sitting on these tracks for a while now. Now, of course, you have released singles in the span of 2024, but now to have the full album coming out on January 24th of 2025, starting the new year off strong. What's it feel like to finally air this out and release it to the world after, holding on to it, being your little baby for a year there?
Well, it's great. I mean, I'm happy to have them all out in the world. I'm happy to have them out in the world in, the context of an album, and, having them back to back, having them flow into each other in a way that highlights them. But at the same time, like, I've been listening to these songs for so long, and like, as an artist, I've kind of moved on from them a little bit. I mean, there's a handful that like are still that I'm still really, really excited about. And there no, I mean, I'm excited about all of them, but like there's some on the record that I think are, really, really stand out.
Mm.
But yeah, in general, like, that's sort of the thing about making music in this day and age is everything. There's such a delay on everything.
Yeah, you've lived with this for so long. You've been playing a lot of these songs for a while. Like you've been playing them all throughout 2024. I remember you telling me about that before. What were the kind of reactions that you were getting from audiences as you were playing some of the stuff that is yet to be released? Well, now released with this album.
People have always reacted well to these songs. Some of them I've been playing since 2021,
Oh,
uh,
wow.
2022. And they've really they really sort of evolved over the years. It is nice to sort of be able to sit on a song like that for that period of time and really refine it before you record it. I had the opportunity to do that with a lot of these songs. But yeah, in general, I mean, it depends on the song, but in general, I'd say that like tended to get good feedback on a lot of them.
Amazing. Actually, something that you brought up with how there is a bit of delay with how things work in the industry, but then also being able to sit on this stuff makes me really think in a time of a lot of instant gratification when it comes to posting stuff online, a lot of newer, more green artists who are trying to break through will just post stuff without even thinking about it, send it out to the void. Tell me what it feels like on your end to be able to sit with a song, to refine it, and why that's so important to your craft.
It's important to be able to sit with something for a while because there's always like an initial excitement when you come up with an idea. And sometimes that excitement can kind of blind you to things that aren't working with a specific track. So you really have to, I think sometimes you have to allow yourself to get a little tired of something and then look at the song and say, okay, what is it about this that is making me not enjoy it as much? What can I change about it to distill it down to what works best? That's how you write a great song. You have to let yourself sort of you have to give yourself the space to see the flaws in your initial kind of idea. I mean, not all songs are going to be like that. Like some songs, specifically like pop songs, like songs that kind of just go for the throat. Like often those are best when you go with your initial instinct. But like for example, a song like The Same Mistakes, which is my most streamed song. I kind of, I wrote that and I was really excited about it when I wrote it. And then I started to kind of lose interest in playing it and going through it. And I gave up on it for a little while. And then, I started to remember parts of it that I liked, but knew that it wasn't working as a whole. And over time, I just sort of, I just figured out what wasn't working over time and I was
Mhm.
able to. And I think that that's, having the space to do that is really important.
Absolutely. As you matured as a musician, the song was able to mature with you, and you were able to grow and build on it as you grew as a musician and as a person. I love it, and I really appreciate that perspective, Leo. Seriously, thank you. So, with the album, of course, Till You're Somebody Else, out January 24th. You've had a couple of singles with this. You actually released the title track, was it back in April of 2024? Somewhere
Yeah,
around that time?
that was the sixth single we put out. So
The sixth single. Wow. So you've been sprinkling some stuff out there, of course, but the title track did very, very well. It was number one on Media Base for adult contemporary independent artist charts and 26 on Billboard's adult contemporary chart. Big, big accomplishments right there. Congratulations on that. How'd that feel to see the song get the reach that it did and receive the exposure, not just for the song itself, but for you and all the work that you and your team have been doing?
it felt great. It was very validating for sure. It's always like whenever something like that happens, I sort of ask myself, well, what does it mean? And, what real world effects will it actually have? But it was very exciting to be on the charts as a independent artist. Like before I put these singles out 18 months ago, like no one was streaming my music. Pretty much felt like anytime I released a single, it would just go into the void. So to go from that to being on the Billboard was very exciting, to say the least.
That is an exciting thing. And it just goes to show like the work and the effort and the skill you put into it, all the talent, amazing. And I also want to talk about one of the more recent singles back in November I don't think there was another single in between this and then, but Am
Uh,
I Ever Going to Fly Again?
yeah,
That came out in November. That's a great song. So,
thank
what
you.
was kind of the response that you got from that as well? You're welcome. What was the response that you got from people on that one as well, being the more latest single right before the album drops?
Feel like I've gotten a more mixed response on that song.
Hmm.
I feel like it's, it's definitely very, I used a slightly different writing process to come up with that one.
Okay.
Uh, Usually I'll work on a chord progression for a while and I'll just sort of naturally let that chord progression generate a melody. And that's always the way I've worked. It's always worked best for me. But I wanted to just try to start with the melody on a song and then build everything around that. But I felt like it wound up maybe being a little bit less unique because of
Hmm.
that. But I mean, I still really like that song. I think there's some really great moments in it. But I don't know if like, the people who were into like the same mistakes and stuff like that really gravitated towards that one as much.
Hmm. Interesting.
But it's still hard to say. Like the song is, it's been only a couple of months, so it's like it takes a little while after you put something out on Spotify to see sort of where it falls and sort of how it compares to the other tracks you put out. Because you release something and it's gonna like automatically get more streams than your other songs are getting. So once it sort of settles, you can see how people like it compared to your other stuff. But yeah, no, a lot of people do like that song. I like it a lot.
I enjoyed it, and maybe because I'm a songwriter as well. I'm very much a melody and lyrics kind of person first before I get to the chord progressions. Maybe that's why I gravitated towards it, but I don't know. I like a lot of your stuff, so it's really,
Oh,
really good, and I'm happy about it. And now I'm going to get selfish for a moment because I want to talk about one of the songs that really resonated with me when I listened to your album. It's the last song on the album, New York, I'm Coming Home. I
oh,
really loved that song, and it was giving me some Eagles vibes, very Heartland rock. And as somebody who, well, it's been a couple years, but before the pandemic, traveled like crazy, I felt kind of a kinship to it. So, just for my out of my selfishness, could you please talk about that song? Because I'm definitely going to plug that a lot. That's a good song, and tell me where you came from with that one.
so I wrote that in 2022. I went on a really fun trip to Europe that year.
Mm,
Kind of like my first time traveling on my own, like away, like, out of the country. And I was gone for a month. So it was like a huge departure for me. For a lot of my life, I was kind of a shut-in. I didn't really go out much or, see much of the world. And that all kind of started to change after the pandemic. I kind of realized that I had taken my freedom for granted. So I wrote that song kind of towards the end of that trip, or like around the second half of that trip. Just thinking about everything I had learned being away and seeing new places, but also like how excited I was to come back to New York with everything that I had learned from traveling. And I think that's part of what has always made New York special is that it's a place where people come from all over the world to share what they know from the places that they're from. So I was definitely thinking about that when I wrote it.
so cool, man. So
Yeah.
cool. I really enjoyed it while listening to it. I've listened to that on repeat a couple times now. But in literary terms, I kind of got the sense of like the hero's journey, both from the song and what you were saying. You can start from a certain place, but then when you go off on this journey, even when you return home, you come back with different eyes and you
Yeah.
can't unsee what you've seen. And you're different, not completely different, but how much change and growth can come out of that time. So I got that out of the song. I got that out of your story. And I just want to say I really, really love that track in particular. With that being said, and I want to kind of harp on what you said there about being a shut in and then now kind of taking the world by storm, especially with a year like 2024 where you were touring with John McLaughlin. What's it like to you kind of going from this state of homeostasis, you're staying in the same place, to all of a sudden being thrusted into the world?
I mean, it's great. I feel like there's always been a little bit of that push and pull between the part of me that wants to, just sort of be in my comfortable place and the part of me that wants to explore and see everything. But it just made me, I feel like it gave me my power back a little bit.
Mm.
I felt like you know, I just felt very free. Like I had nothing holding me down. And I realized that I had actually been very, very free this entire time. Um, and in general, I feel like it's just elevated my general mood from what it used to be. Even though I don't know, even though like, I'm waking up super early and like maybe I'm in like more physically uncomfortable situations, like in general, like it feels better, you know?
No, I get that. I get that. It's that good kind of stress. It's that good, as you said, it gives you that power and
Yeah.
it's bringing you to new lights and new lengths. Amazing, Leo. So, so good. Again, Till You're Somebody Else is coming out on January 24th. Probably by the time of this episode, it's already been released. And looking forward to that for Leo, of course. We'll have all the links and information in the description of this episode for you to be able to find that release along with Leo's other music. Leo, before we completely wrap up and everything, are there any other things that people can expect out of you in 2025? Can we expect some more shows? Can we expect some more releases besides the album? What can fans expect from you in this new coming year?
Well, I have a release show on January 30th. So if anyone is in the city or close to the city, you should definitely come to that. It's going to be really fun. I've got two other great bands that are going to be playing as well. Um, and more singles. We live in a world of singles, so there will be much more music after this LP is released.
Awesome. I'm excited for it. And Leo, you were always welcome on the show to talk more music. So hopefully we'll get you on later then to talk about those new projects. But Leo, again, man, great album. I'm looking forward to this for you and hopefully more Billboard charting success and who knows where in the world it'll take you. So again, Leo, thank you for being here on Walsh Wednesday.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Connor. Really appreciate it.
I'm Connor.
And I'm Leo.
And as always, we're glad we get to
Spend some time.
And that's a wrap on this week's episode. Special thanks to Jan Vazquez, Samantha VanAlstyne, and Leo Sawikin. And of course, special shout out to Impact PR and Communications, Teespring, Walsh Valuation, IABO Board 114, Flip Circus, and Alan Miller Public Relations. Last but certainly not least, we got to give a big shout out to our Patreon member, Jenna Hess. But you know what? She's getting a little lonely. So how about you keep her company on the Walsh Wednesday Patreon? You can support this channel by becoming a Patreon member with memberships as low as $5 a month. With that, you can get behind-the-scenes content, your name featured in the credits of each episode, and access to the Spend Some Time chat. You can find that and more by scanning the QR code on your screen or by going to the links in the description. As always, I'm Connor Walsh, and I'm glad we get to spend some time.